Hey, everybody, grace and peace. We are back. Happy Monday to you all. This is the Monday morning meeting. Thank you so much for tapping in. I got some good things that we're going to talk about today. We're not going to be super long. I'm going to do my very best to keep it reasonable today. But I do want to say thank you all so much for tapping in. Hopefully, you had a beautiful Lord's Day on yesterday. I need to make sure I update our book of James sermon series because we finished James yesterday. Shout out to the book of James. So we just finished that yesterday. And if you're interested, every Sunday my church has been going through the book of James, and there's a playlist on my channel labeled the book of James. So check it out. You want to hear some good, solid preaching, shout out to that. And I don't know where we're going next because we're going through 2 Kings in evening service. So I actually don't know what we're going to do next. So we'll find out. But I'll make sure you know, and all that kind of good stuff. Hopefully you all are having a great Sunday, a great Monday morning. Let me add this to that. If the mods could just add, just share the book of James playlist would be great. And we are off and going. Thankfully, this should be a good one. All right, let's get to it. Well, we got up in the building. What's up, Mike? How are you, man? Number one in the building. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. What we got here, Debbie said good morning to everybody. We got a shout out from the Texas mother bird. How are you? And she's number 6. I appreciate it for sure. Okay. We need to have a come together, everybody. We need to talk about this Carmelo Anthony thing. I mentioned last week that I feel like the case has kind of gone a little bit, I think it's gone a little bit over his skis, so to speak. I don't think the Carmelo Anthony case is for the common person, for the normal man and woman that is watching it. I just don't think it's good. I don't think it's good for us to watch and keep up with. I do think it's getting a little bit more entertainment than anything else. Somehow or other, people did not understand what I said when I said that. And so that's why I did a video this weekend about it. I dropped a video yesterday just kind of re-explaining what I meant by entertainment. And I'm definitely, and some people, maybe say, hey, well, maybe the word entertainment maybe threw some people off, and that's fair. But what I'm going to say still is, I still think the Carmelo Anthony case is something I don't think it's good. And I'll explain again why. So real quick, shout out to Ground News. Carmelo Anthony trial jurors hear testimony on Saturday. So yes, this trial is going 6 days a week. I got a feeling this thing is going to be over this week. I think it's going to get put into the jury's hands this week. And we will talk about it. So this is just a recap from Ground News. I do have a couple of articles we're going to look at, as well as some people over there on the Twitter X space as well. On Friday, Frisco High School students testified in the murder trial of Carmelo Anthony, supporting the prosecution's account of the fatal stabbing of Austin Metcalf at the 2025 track meet. I think this is going to be very interesting because we've spent better part of a year of people telling us exactly what they thought happened. 4 kids jumped on Carmelo Anthony. He was just defending his position and this, that, and the other. And those people, these witnesses got up and said something totally different. These witnesses got up and completely threw that for a loop. So let's go. Witnesses told jurors that Anthony refused to leave and refused at least 15 requests to leave the tent. And, I'm not going to pronounce that. What in the world? That's my first time ever seeing the name of the stadium. What? Kawhi Kendall Stadium? Lord, let that be the last time they put that word in here. Stadium before the confrontation escalated. And prosecutors presented the folding 5-inch knife used as the murder weapon. Students testified they did not believe Anthony acted in self-defense, describing how Metcalf fell after being stabbed while his twin brother, Hunter Metcalf, remained uninvolved nearby, scrolling on his phone. See, that's what I'm saying. This is gonna hurt the narratives that people have told, because we were told that Hunter and Austin were beating up on the boy, and he was just defending his position. Well, Austin. Several people say Austin wasn't even paying attention. He was on his phone. He was scrolling. Jurors and Metcalf's Parents watched police body camera footage of the officers performing CPR on the 17-year-old victim, while Anthony's family reported it facing racist attacks and harassment throughout the proceedings. Criminologist Jonathan Reed noted that the high-profile interracial cases often become symbolic proxies for broader debates on race and justice, potentially impacting public confidence in the legal system regardless of the verdict. This is really what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't think this trial is going to do well to for race relations, if you will. And I think a lot of people want it to be that way. So, man, that was an update on it. Let's look at the a little bit of what has happened last week, because they're going to be back at it in about 2 hours, give or take. It's 8 o'clock here, so I think it's 3 hours. I think they start at 10. Don't quote me on that. But real quick, week 1 recap: murder trial of the Carmelo Anthony in North Texas. And like I'm asking, like, what's the purpose of staying outside protesting? Like, what is the actual purpose of that? All right, let's go. Green hearts when you can hear.
A handful of Carmelo Anthony supporters gathered at the Collin County Courthouse in McKinney, Texas today. A sharp contrast from just 24 hours earlier, when demonstrators on both sides shouted heated words as the racially charged murder trial began. Anthony, now 19 years old, faces a first-degree murder charge for the fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a Frisco, Texas high school track meet last year. The teens, who went to different schools, argued after Anthony sat under a tent belonging to Metcalf's team. According to the defense, when Metcalf asked Anthony to move, Anthony reached into his bag and said, "Touch me and see what happens." When Metcalf allegedly grabbed him, Anthony's accused of pulling a knife from his bag and stabbing Metcalf in the chest. Anthony's attorney says his actions were a split-second defensive response. Collin County District Attorney Bill Wiersky called the incident an unprovoked murder, and today played body camera video of Frisco police officer Eduardo Cortez arresting Anthony, who told him, quote, "I'm not alleged. I did it," adding, "He put his hands on me. I told him not to." No black jurors were seated for the 12-person panel. The prosecution says the process was race neutral and struck the remaining 3 black candidates because they were all educators.
Is this something that you think could come back up during the trial?
I would expect them to raise it again, depending on what the verdict is. And it's an issue that would be raised in the direct appeal process.
A string of teenage witnesses have been taking the stand today, describing what they saw, what they heard underneath the tent at that track meet. The judge plans to continue hearing testimony tomorrow through the day on Saturday, working through the weekend, hoping to wrap up this trial within 2 weeks. Jason Allen, CBS News, Collin County, Texas.
I don't see how it's going to go any further. I mean, I don't see how it's going to go longer than that.
Fly or fight.
Jacob Borda's home surveillance.
So let me just real quick. That's pretty much everything that they've just said. I want to say this right here. Brooklyn law professor Alexis Hogue Fornhar said that the challenges of jury selection can resurface later in the case. I would expect them to raise them again, depending on what the verdict is. Hogue said, adding that it could be an issue raised during the direct appeal process. What would be the problem, though? That's the thing I don't get. Like, what would a black person be on the jury do? Do you expect them to ignore the law, ignore the rules, ignore the evidence? What do you expect to happen? Like, what does having a black person on the jury change in this regard? In this case, not talking about every single case under the planet, but what changes in this story if 3 black people, 4 black people, all black people were there? Like, what would they do? Given the evidence that we've heard, what would change? That's the part I don't get. And it doesn't make sense to me. It makes no sense at all. But let's hop over here real quick. Let me see, make sure, give y'all a chance. They assume that all black people would side with him. That's the point. And that's the, I want them to just say that out loud. I want them to say, we black people would not convict another black person. Just be honest. But what would be so they can cry racism, right? But what would change about the evidence that's being shared? Would there be a change in the evidence? That's my question. Hey, real quick, let's hop over here. Let's look at some of these, what's been happening outside. Hence why I say I don't think it needs, I don't think it's good. All right, so we got people, this lady, I saw this lady with the green head wrap earlier this weekend. I think she was like trying to conjure up some kind of voodoo or something, or conjure up some kind of spell, if you will. Let's bring her in. Let's go.
I'm not gonna touch you. What is it? But I might touch that beautiful soul. It's like my motherfucking wake up. Together, but you came straight at us, yelling and
that's what I said.
I came busting my motherfucking opinion. Bitch. I'm in pain. I'm not in your motherfucking face. But I'm gonna say what the fuck I gotta say. Bitch, have you up that your motherfucking and can't fucking use the brand new motherfucking face. You ain't never felt that shit. You ain't never fucking
This a real question, serious question. I really, really, truly, serious question. What is the purpose of these people of both sides being outside the courtroom, the courthouse? What is the purpose? Because none of this is glorifying, edifying to God. This woman is losing her mind. She is being pulled into sin by being here. Maybe you need to go home, ma'am. Maybe you need to be home. Maybe you should be elsewhere. This is causing you to sin. Well, what is the purpose of being outside if it's causing you to behave in this manner? I'm being for real. And this is on both sides of the equation. I've seen some deplorable things that are pro Metcalf family. I've seen some things that are absolutely deplorable from the Anthony camp. Like, what's the purpose of this? Nothing's going to change. I said this last week. I'll say it again. Y'all are not going to re-adjudicate the case out here in the courtyard under the little sycamore tree in front of the courthouse. So what are we doing? What are you really doing? All right, let's go.
Felt that shit, bitch. You ain't never fucking felt that shit. Do you know what the fucking feels like?
So this, yeah, I'm gonna probably skip the rest of this one because I mean, all she's doing is just expletives. Like, what's the purpose of this for expletives' sake? I'm gonna look at this person right here. Jinxed and Sippy are there, and they've been doing a really good job. And I don't see any more from Saturday. She did some earlier this week as well. But like, what's the purpose of this? Why be here if it's going to cause you to get into sin like this? Okay, maybe that was the same thing I saw earlier. My bad. I think this lady was being a little bit more rational here. I don't know if that matters much, but let's go ahead and bring it back in. Like, what are we doing?
And I know she's crying her white tears right now, but right now I already know they might not give a fuck. But I'm actually going to touch into that soul. And you better stand 10 toes down for every single last children on this planet. Because when it comes deeper into that summer, when the children get snatching all over America, because America got all them altars and they hungry for that blood, that young blood, you better stand 10 toes down, every single one of them. And if you don't, I'm going to come in your dreams. You understand me? I'm not trying to come at you like that, but you better stay genuine. You better stay authentic. And if you don't, I am going to come and I will run all the way to your home. Do you understand me? And I know she's crying her white tears right.
Wait, I don't even understand what this woman's talking about. She's talking about she's going to come to this woman in her dreams and harass her if she doesn't stand 10 toes down on what it is that this woman believes she should stand 10 toes down about. I'm just going to keep asking the question. What's the purpose of being out here? Like, what is the purpose of being out here? You out here impersonating Miss Cleo, getting yourself all hot and sweaty. For what? What is the purpose of this? Please, I'm not even trying to be facetious. I don't get what's the purpose of being out here. Just show solidarity. Why don't you show solidarity by going to work? Like, how is that not Why is going to work not solidarity? That's that same lady that was cursing them and all that kind of stuff like that. You can see it right there. Like, what's the purpose of that? Right off the bat, like, she just cussing just to be cussing. Remind me like a kid that gets to go out in public away from their mom and dad. And they just try to be bad just to be cussing. There's Tamara. Hold on, wait. Let's see this. After morning break yesterday, the man in black waited near my car and recorded which car I got in with his phone. On the next break, him and his white woman parked next to my car and were sitting in the car when I came out of the courthouse at lunchtime. He has been there all week and is mad dogging me. And yesterday was the first day I noticed him wanting holding, I don't know what she's trying to say, punching is a firearm. I moved my car from them in a clear attempt at intimidation in the courthouse. So apparently this is this is Unique at Night. Okay. All right, so that looks like Sarah Fields. That's Tamara Neely. I think that's Sippy Cup that we were just looking at. Okay. Oh, here it is. Let me read this. It says, this is also an outright lie. The woman Neek is spreading false information that places me in a dangerous position. At this point, I believe these actions are intended to incite harassment and potentially violence against me. That's what I'm saying. Like, we, the reporters, the journalists, the citizen journalists, should not become part of the story. Now we've crossed over. Now you'll be creating another story now. Now there's a Nick at Night and Sarah Fields side story to the overall long story of the Carmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf trial. Because of situations like this, we have significantly increased our security measures and are taking additional precautions to ensure our safety. We are currently in a safe location and getting some much needed rest. I will have an update on yesterday's courtroom events soon. Thank you all, everyone who has reached out with concern, support, and prayers. They are appreciated more than you know. All right, and that's from Sarah Fields. Okay. So, yeah, that's what I mean. That's what all I'm saying is some of this has gone a little bit too far. Here's the lady. I do think this is the one that most people have seen this weekend. This lady like trying to do some voodoo or something. It was kind of crazy.
You better cast it out. Come on, man. Cast it. Give me a hug because all that pain. Because racism holds a heavyweight. Heavy. No, I'm not done. I'm not done. Because ain't nobody going to stop me. Not on one stop. You better stand with Austin. Because if he falls even deeper into hell, because y'all want to keep sacrificing that baby, I promise you, I'm going to wake them all. And I'm going to make y'all respect. And I'm going to make you clean. You better cast your weight. Cast it. Because baby want to cast it. But she don't know what I'm talking about. Cast your shit. You better cast it out.
What are we doing? What are you doing? Like, ma'am, you run around here sound like Senator Palpatine. Had a couple extra cigarettes. Like, what are we talking about here? I don't get. I'm being for real. I'm not even just trying to be asinine and just be difficult for difficult sake. What is the purpose of being outside of the courthouse if it leads you to behave like this? Like, why? Like, I don't even want to pull this lady because I know all she's doing is using profanity. Like, it's not even like a random, like she just using profanity. Shout out to Sippy Cup. Yeah, I'm not gonna pull up any more of those. But what is the purpose of this, man? If they are causing you to fall into sin, what is the purpose of being there at the courthouse if it does that? I'm not trying to be just difficult for difficult sake, but at some point we have to realize, like, there's no fruit in this. No, I can't imagine. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine her being in your family? And you got to listen to this every family reunion or Christmas or Thanksgiving. Like, what are we doing? I don't get it. Yeah, I don't see any others that are worth having a conversation about. But today is day, I guess would be, I think it's day 7 of the Carmelo Anthony trial. It might be day 7. It could be day 5. Depends on if you count the Sunday. I'm sorry, if you count those, the day that the openings where they're selecting jurors. Some people don't start those days. I don't know, but they'll be back today. We'll probably do a recap tomorrow and talk about it as well. But yeah, I don't think going over it line upon line and tapping into people's streams and stuff like that is beneficial, because we're just watching people who don't have answers, who don't have a solution, sit around, grope and scratch and cling to whatever they can find to give them some kind of answer solution, when actually there isn't an answer and solution. No, there's going to be no answers or solutions found outside of that courthouse. None whatsoever. But what do y'all think? What are y'all thinking? What's going on? Kissy, how are you? Good to see you, friend. There we go. Eclectic Journalist is up in the building. Good to see you. Thank you so much for stopping by on this morning. I appreciate you. Maranatha is ghetto out here. I mean, really, Lord, come quickly, because we just messing it up, Lord. We are messing it up. We're just in trouble. I think also, let me just make sure I didn't miss it. I know who else is also messing it up. Los Angeles. Y'all, this is crazy. Have y'all been keeping up with what's going on in Los Angeles? Well, last Tuesday, Spencer Pratt was in second place, a strong second place, forcing a runoff between Mayor Bass and him this coming November. Well, they've been doing some ballot counting, and lo and behold, Spencer Pratt not only has didn't beat Karen Bass, but now the second place challenger has now become the second place challenger. The third place challenger has become the second place challenger, and Spencer Pratt is basically out of the race. Yeah. Natalia Rahman overtakes Spencer Pratt in Los Angeles mayoral race. Rahman has overtaken Spencer Pratt for second place in the Los Angeles mayoral primary after updated vote counts on Sunday evening. Since June 2nd, Rahman gained about 43,000 more votes than Pratt and increased her vote share by approximately 5 points, outperforming both Pratt and Karen Bass. Rahman secured about 40% of the nearly 48,000 votes counted on Sunday, leading Pratt by roughly 3,000 votes. After 5 days of counting ballots, Rahman surpassed Pratt and is positioned to face incumbent Mayor Karen Bass in the November runoff, but the final outcome remains uncertain due to remaining uncounted votes. I mean, I hate that for Spencer Pratt, because I think Spencer Pratt was a fantastic candidate. I think he brought a lot of energy, a lot of newness to the Los Angeles Angelino race. And this right here, I don't even know how they can do this. Oh, absolutely. You know what? I need you in my life. I need you in my life. Thank you so much. That's exactly what I was thinking.
That's suspicious.
Absolutely.
That's weird.
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
But I don't like little lies. When there is one lie, there's 20.
You know what? She right on this one too.
I don't know, but I know. Okay? I don't know, but I know. It makes sense.
It makes perfect sense, because we know what makes sense about it.
It's an evil world we live in.
Man, absolutely. I'm taking it back. Like, these people are literally cheating in front of us. in front of us. They're just doing it. Ballots, 50,000 ballots just materialized out of nowhere. And they're all for Rahman. It's not even like an equal distribution. Like if you had 100,000 votes cast and it was, Karen Bass got 39%, Pratt got 36%, and Rahman got 20%, and then the other two candidates after the fact, like the 48,000 votes are not even equal. Like they're just like, so many of them are for Karen, so many of them for Rahman, like one or two are for brother Pratt. That's crazy work. That is some crazy work. And yeah, let's jump over to Sky News and talk about it. Let's go. We need Spencer Pratt here in Georgia. Whoa. We need him here in Georgia.
I know that you've been covering the race for LA Mayor. I know you've spent the past week covering it over there. Let's talk about Spencer Pratt. His once comfortable lead, it's been slashed yet again. We've just seen these fresh ballots, which have delivered another boost to progressive Nithya Rahman. Where does this leave the race now and Pratt's chances?
Well, I think he's done. If you looked at how the votes fell on election day, it was around 38% for the incumbent Karen Bass, who is frankly useless. So that is a really impressive Democrat get out the vote operation and machine to get her that. And Spencer was on around 25, 26, 27%. It bounced around, and then there was a long way between her and the third place socialist candidate. And as those results have come in, what we've seen, the graphs are astonishing. Essentially, Karen Bass has remained completely static. Spencer Pratt's gone up a tiny bit, but the third place outsider is absolutely coining it in the votes that are cast after, votes that are counted after election day. So something weird is going on, frankly. I'm never one for big conspiracy theorists, but an explanation is needed to explain why. Now, look, you can make the argument that actually Democrat areas tend to vote later. They're more urban. They're more urban sort of voting blocks, so it takes longer to count. There's more voters, and so naturally the Democrat vote would go up and up and up later on as the later votes and the urban votes are counted. And if you look at the political map of LA, like areas around LA, more Republican, the outer areas, and it's the city center that is more Democrat. That would make sense if Karen Bass's numbers were going up as well.
Right.
But it just so happened that the graph started going up. The third place candidate, just when she had already conceded, she was giving a speech in tears on election day saying she'd fallen short. And then lo and behold, up it comes. Now, the Californians say we count every vote in California.
Yeah, I bet you do.
What really to see in America is actually a lot of people who are very dismissive of any mention of election fraud or the fact that it's even possible for this to happen, and now openly question. You've got moderate Democrats who were backing Spencer Pratt, who are saying, "Huh? Wait, this thing's real. This is it does not bear. It's just some questions need to be asked because the graphs look at totally illogical, and they have such a daft system. It has such a daft system in California that actually everyone's mailed a ballot." And so you got dozens and dozens and dozens of people I've seen already saying, I've got 3 ballots because they've sent 3 to this address. I've only lived here a month. They've sent them to the people that lived in this house for 2 years before and 10 years before. So all you have to do is date it to election day, and you can mail it in. You're able to go around and technically harvest votes. Political organizers are allowed to go around and collect votes on behalf of people. And it doesn't take much to work out how you kind of start to do this. And fact is, California, LA, this is, one of the greatest cities on the world, in the richest, one of the richest states in the world. And this is a country, technically, California, if it was a republic, would be the 5th largest economy in the world. And they can't count votes. It takes them a month to find out who their voting was. The Indians do this in 3 days, and there are 1 billion people. It's ridiculous. And anyone really defending the system, and actually the one silver lining for Spencer Pratt has walked so someone else can one day run. The fact is, the scrutiny now that's going to be on the American voting system. It won't just be the Republicans that are pushing for voter ID. I think it will start to become a much more normal, in terms of normal voters, a moderate position. And it's going to be the Democrats who are going to be left clinging to this idea that actually, why would you need ID to vote? Well, have a look at Spencer Pratt.
I mean, I just find it extraordinary that they haven't got a voting system that seems up to scratch. I mean, what the heck is going on?
This is the state that invented the iPhone, it invented the Apple Macintosh, it invented the driverless car. It is putting Tesla, Apple, you name it. Between the greatest minds of Silicon Valley, can someone please come up with a way of counting votes that isn't from the ark?
Literally, I mean, for a state that's actually meant to be so intelligent, my God, they haven't got the basics right at all.
Exactly. I mean, it's proper third world stuff.
It really, really is. Harry Cole, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I've thoroughly enjoyed all of your insights. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, that was my first time hearing Harry Cole. I don't know if he's got his thumb on it for real. And we'll probably hear more about him, I'm sure, because I also like the Australian news take on our news, which is just absolutely out of control that I had to say that. Like, I love how they report and how they look at it, because they're on the outside of us looking in. And I find it always interesting. All right, y'all. I got one more. I just want to help punctuate this point, because I do think that was a good point that Brother Cole made, that Spencer Pratt may become a cautionary tale, or a tale that we look back at and say, this is why we need election integrity. This is why we need voter IDs. This is why we need to secure our elections, because of what happened to Spencer Pratt. And I think that's good. So absolutely, I love Sky News. Sky is a great outlet, and I do appreciate them. Florida does a great job as well. I ran across Sky today, and I was like, I haven't listened to Sky News in a while. And it was just great. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to tag in my brother from another, Decoy Voice. We're going to let Decoy break it down to us this morning. Shout out to Decoy. Link is down in the description. Let's go.
Was sobbing after her blowout loss to Spencer Pratt, but practically, mathematically, and possibly, she's now surging ahead, specifically with batches of mail-in ballots, which initially Trump found suspect.
He's doing well. I don't know. If you have a rigged vote out there, that's the problem. The votes are rigged.
But now completely calls it out.
Your elections in this country, we're like a third world country. Your elections are crooked, and you're crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked, and so is ABC and CBS.
All of y'all.
And CNN. You're one-sided crooked networks. All right, let's call it quits, because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good time.
Trump said, holla back.
Please, I traveled all the way to Wisconsin.
I've sat in the rain with you.
I know.
I've given you enough time. You ought to straighten out your press, because you know what?
Mr.
A
President,
country can never be great with a dishonest
Listen,
press.
we
Come on,
traveled all the way to Wisconsin for this interview.
As if traveling all the way from Wisconsin validates any of your BS claims. It's just insane that what would have gotten you banned on all social media mere years ago is again being desperately suppressed by the mainstream media everywhere. As Rahman is now beating everybody, not in all the mail-in ballots, but only those counted several days after election night at exactly the percentage she needs to.
Okay, just let that sink in. I need y'all to look at this. Just take a second and ponder this. Look at this. Look at this. Mail-ins arriving before Election Day, 38%, 27%, 20% in favor of Bass, Pratt, and Rahman. Mail-ins arriving after Election Day. First of all, that sentence is crazy work. Why are there mail-in ballots coming in after Election Day? Why are there mail-in ballots? We're not in the middle of a pandemic. It's 37% Rahman. Well, let me just read it again the way I did it. 37, 34, 19. This time, however, is 37% in favor of Rahman, 34 for Bass, and Pratt only gets 19% of the votes coming in. But Rahman mysteriously got a 17 plus surge. That's crazy work. That is absolutely diabolical.
Overtake Pratt. So let's not outright validate Trump's claims, but at least entertain what he's saying. as a U.S. attorney is looking into the election, discovering that in California, you can register to vote with a gym membership. That means you can go to any cheap gym, fill out all your information on basically the honor system, and apparently a single dollar gives you all the verification you need to vote in California. And I understand. The insecurity of verifying the validity of who's registering to vote doesn't equal fraud. It just creates an environment where it could easily take place. So at least we should be able to investigate any potential shortcomings in this vulnerability. But just a week before the election, Governor Gavin Newsom signed emergency legislation that basically bans the feds from investigating California's elections. As Newsom openly admits, he's expecting Trump to look into this. It's almost like when he said he wouldn't allow the Democrats to lose the election, he meant it.
There is a break the glass scenario, and there's many people that have a deep understanding of what it would look like if Democrats were locked out, and we're going to do everything to make sure that doesn't happen.
As at the very least,
What
he
does that
seemingly
mean?
cheated Sheriff Chad Bianco out of votes, where if you supported the sheriff but believed Newsom's plan to limit how many Republicans could be on the final ballot, you probably would consolidate your support for Hilton, since Newsom essentially said Bianco votes would be invalidated. But the worst case here is they knew something weird would happen in California, so they rushed through emergency legislation to push out the Trump administration from noticing. As California was counting votes at a snail's pace, with a seemingly empty voting facility. But then the U.S. Assistant Attorney came in to observe exactly what was happening, and suddenly, this place was bustling with activity. Where worst case, reportedly 95% of these election workers had attended at least 3 No Kings rallies, where they verify signatures, but in case someone can't sign, they write anything as a signature, including a happy face, where a witness can sign for them. But reportedly, the witness's signature doesn't need a verification. But what's even worser is these are being verified by seemingly blind people.
Finalize election results because the state allows for voters to mail ballots up until the day of the election. Those ballots then have to be inspected, signatures checked, and verified.
Now, I understand some of these people can just be extremely nearsighted, and it is amazing when they can find employment. But when it comes to election security, sadly, I think inclusion isn't necessarily a priority. Unless in California, slow or inaccurate verification is the point. As a Democrat president had admitted this years ago.
This struggle is no longer just over who gets to vote or making it easier for eligible people to vote. It's about who gets to count the votes, whether they should count at all.
And by all means, each party can have their own strategy. It's just suspicious that the same party that doesn't want voter ID places the validity of voters in the hands of Planet Fitness and signs emergency legislation 1 week before an election, protecting their voter rolls from federal investigation. And then when the third place candidate suddenly makes a comeback with mail-in ballots, but not all the batch.
Okay, so that is those numbers are. This is amazing, California. What are y'all going to do about this? So all of those mail-in ballots, the vast, overwhelming majority of them came in for Rahman. Only 3% of the votes, mail-in votes, came in for Pratt. They don't even mention Miller and the other lady. They didn't even get 10 votes. This is crazy work. The overwhelming majority of votes came in for for Rahman, which is just, that makes no sense at all. It doesn't even, so all these people were so pro Pratt up until the time to actually vote, and then they decided to not. And hearing how they verify mail-in ballots is crazy work.
Is mailed in, just the batches counted several days after they saw her falling 10% behind, and when apparently there were only 291,000 outstanding votes, but after a day of counting, they magically were expecting 311,000 more votes. Again, we're not validating
What is the actual purpose of having 311,000 votes in the mail? I mean, isn't that making like the U.S. Postal Service a part of the shenanigans, a part of this? Like, what is the purpose of this? And again, I know, y'all know my mom is in rehab right now for her shoulder. I totally understand that. But my mom would go and vote in person beforehand. And by the way, she's going home today. So we're going to actually, when I wrap this up, we're going to go take her van back to the house. We got it detailed. It's been sitting at the shop all week. So we're going to get that done. But anyway, I digress. What's the purpose what is the actual purpose of 311,000 votes being outstanding? Help me understand that.
And 11,000 more votes. Again, we're not validating Trump's claims, but even the left has to admit this is suspicious. Where several concerned citizens are taking to social media to show the stacks of other people's ballots being mailed to them.
I know that there are rentals that have 30 plus ballots going there, and who knows what's happening to them, because you can't prove or disprove election fraud. She doesn't live here. She doesn't live here.
What?
She doesn't live here.
And even sending California ballots to residents in Georgia.
My dad, who hasn't lived in California for 16 years, received a ballot sent to his Georgia address, not forwarded, but sent to his Georgia address. So many other people, I've seen it on Twitter and my
Wait up, y'all. Wait, hold on. I really wish, I know the man cannot show his dad's address, but this isn't, this is not forwarded. This is actually, that's crazy work, man. This is crazy work. Looking at these this is crazy.
For 16 years, received a ballot sent to his Georgia address, not forwarded, but sent to his Georgia address. So many other people, I've seen it on Twitter, in my comment section, on other social media platforms. So many people have gotten either multiple ballots, they've gotten ballots for themselves, differentiating between their maiden name and their married name. People have gotten ballots for their children when they've never even registered to vote in the state itself.
With Benny even discovering 26 voters registered to an empty parking lot.
Just home to a porta-john and a giant empty parking lot, we have registered voters. 26 registered voters for this exact location.
But none of that.
Now, come on, Benny. Now, Benny. That might have been. Now, Benny. Now you're being a little obtuse, Benny. That may have been a mega apartment complex last Tuesday. I mean, that could have been an apartment complex, a nice little community right there, and it just happened to have gotten raised because they needed to build something new. Like, Benny, I don't think you're thinking about this fully, man. You're not being robust and honest. That was probably a nice little, 10 townhouse, 20 townhouse little community over there. Benny, you're just not up on what's going down, Benny.
Location.
But none of that matters if they can't stop ballot drop-off boxes from being burned. It's almost like California has a major issue with their mail-in voting system, from how they register the voters, to who they issue ballots to if they can even pick up the ballots, to the 37 days they need to count the ballots.
37 days is
third world
crazy.
Countries need more than 24 hours to count 40 times the amount of ballots. Or again.
Wait. Okay, I don't mean to keep stopping. Brazil, presidential runoff, 124 million votes cast, fully electronic voting machines count and transmit results instantly at polling locations, 99.98% plus reporting, and winner declared the same night. California presidential, 16.1 million ballots cast, 13 million plus mail-ins. Like, why do you have 3 million mail-in ballots? Paper mail-in ballots require signature verification and processing initial results on election night, but full count verification takes up to 30 days. Counties must finish most by day 13, final by day 30. Okay. We're in trouble, y'all.
The amount of ballots. Or again, the system needs to be fixed. That is if This isn't a flaw, but a feature of Californian elections. But at least our Supreme Court is looking into enforcing an election day, not election month.
The Supreme Court, we're waiting on an opinion from them about how long you can actually accept ballots in mail-in ballots after election.
Why do you have
day.
mail-in ballots?
So might impact this.
As no matter how they frame it, max democracy, protection from intimidation, or pipe leaks, you're not wrong for questioning what's happening with these elections. You can't confirm any fraud, but why not verify it so the citizens are still confident in our elections? But new scams, new emergency legislation doesn't want any of that, as this is the same scumbag governor that couldn't stop from seemingly dancing at the idea of land grabs after mass fires.
You sure
decimated the
was.
state.
Yeah.
So if you appreciate my concise, light order commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription and you'll subscribe to Decoy.
Shout out to Decoy Voice. Definitely want y'all to check him out. Excellent content creator. I like Decoy a lot. All right, we are going to shift gears. But first, before we do all that, let me see. I'm just reading through, make sure I didn't miss anything. Please make sure your notifications are on. I'm working on it diligently to make sure that I don't do like any pop-up and surprise live stream. So that way YouTube does all of its proper notifications, but you might want to just double check. And the best thing to do, I've told people, is unsubscribe, turn off YouTube, log out of YouTube rather, log back into YouTube, resubscribe, turn on all the bell notifications. That seems to fix whatever the problem is. But please make sure you resubscribe though, please. The YouTube keyboard. I'm missing something here. Okay. Most of you all know that Editor Mark, our good friend Editor Mark, is actually in the Philippines. And I do want to just bring this up just for you all to be prayerful. They had a pretty intense earthquake in the Philippines yesterday. So I'm just going to bring this in. I did talk to Mark. He is fine. This is in the southern part of the Philippines, not his where he's at, but it's still probably pretty scary. So I don't know if you saw this. This is absolutely insane. What happened? So let me just pull this in.
Hoy! Atrás, atrás!
This is
Shit, natumba.
definitely be in prayer for the men and women and brothers and sisters in the Philippines. This is pretty wild. All right. Like, you know, you always think, like, when you think about earthquakes, you're always thinking like, you know, hide under a table or something like that. But these kids were outside during a celebration. They were outside. They were already outside when this happened. I'm like, what do you do? I feel so sorry for these kids, but they handled it well. I will say they handled it well. I don't know what I would have done. Like, they were already outside.
Bantay mo, anak. Bantay mo diate.
My little boy looking like, wow.
Lingkod lang, lingkod lang. Lingkod lang. Lingkod lang. Lingkod lang. Lingkod. Lingkod lang. Lingkod lang. Lingkod lang, lingkod lang.
I don't know what she's saying. It sounds like she's saying, sit down. All right. So there's just, I just want to remind you, you know, hey, well, we can live in a terrible situation. You know, we're in a country that can't seem to count votes, but we don't have to see this kind of stuff in real time. This is just, I mean, it could be so much worse. Let me The stucco coming off. I mean, it's peeling the skin off the building. That's that building we saw collapse earlier. Wow, look at that.
Grabe yung lindol, basag yung SM. Durog. Durog yung SM, durog. Hello. Wala, basag yung SM, basag. Durog yung SM.
All right, so I think that was it. We saw the kids at the school. I mean, this is just amazing. Like this, it's like literally peeling the skin off the building, the facade off the building. This is a very intense earthquake. Oh, wait, where are they? Okay, wait. This is how the earthquake hit Medano, 7.8 magnitude earthquake in Polomoc, South Combata, Philippines. This looks like a school, like they're inside. Oh, okay, let's see how this looks. What do you do? Oh, tiles are falling out of the ceiling. Oh my gosh. So definitely, I don't know if they're reporting on this, but definitely pray for the people of the Philippines. This is, I don't even know what I would do. So they were already out, or maybe they ran outside. One of them, the schools, was that they were outside. And this one is, of course, they're inside. Here, I'll just show you real quick.
Lord, have mercy, Lord God.
Oh, wow.
Lord God, Lord, abang, Lord, have mercy on us, Lord God. Lord God. Oh, grabe. Lord, usugapon siya. Usugapon, Lord. Wala ang kadir o sa stage. Wala na. Usog kaayo. Lord. Pungko sa. Boys, apo. Lord, Ibel. Ara. Lord, thank you gahapon.
Thank you sa favor na
Natadanan na rin.
Lord, grabe.
Grabe, Lord.
That is absolutely amazing. Oh my gosh. Scary video shows a moment the magnitude 7.8 earthquake struck this elementary school earlier today. And you know, the Philippines are like 13 hours ahead of us. So they're already getting close to afternoon time. Actually, no, I'm sorry. They're actually at evening now. So this is an elementary school. Teaching students immediately practice drop, cover, and hold on in an open area of the school. All right, let's look at this and we're going to get out of here. I do have one more thing to look at before we bug out today. Thank y'all so much, everybody who's jumped into the best live chat on the internet. Let's go. Wow, the ground is just moving. Oh, that superstructure. Get away from there. Oh, these poor children. Oh. All right, I just let me see real quick. Does anybody report how long? I see somebody ask how long did it last. I don't know, but I see it is whipping up this pool like nobody's business. Let me see if I can find. Let me leave that right there. Let me see how long did it last. I'm going to go with it. It probably was like 20 seconds. But I mean, aftershocks, I don't even know how they even determine aftershocks. Let's see. All right, AP reports. Da-da-da. They're not saying how long it lasts. Here, let me pull this in so y'all can see it. Oh, come on. They want me to give them my email. All right. 7.8 magnitude quake in the Philippines kills at least 32, collapses buildings and sparks a tsunami. All right, so there's a tsunami in the mix as well. Goodness gracious, man. So almost okay, let me I'm just going to scan through this very quickly. I'll drop this in the description of this video as well. I don't see how long it lasted though. See. This is the first day of school? All crackers. Their excitement, they're talking about the schools, the children, their excitement for the first day of school. That's why they're probably outside for some kind of first day of school event. Oh man, Principal Rossville said it turned into trauma. Some of the young students screamed in panic and wept, but mostly remained seated and still, preventing any injuries, said, adding that a motorcycle was damaged when the shed crumpled on the ground. Yeah, I don't see how long it lasted. I mean, we've seen this building collapse several times in several of the clips, man. This is all right, so there was an earthquake. It was off land. It was off land, for crying out loud. All right, and thankfully, editor Mark lives in the north. I don't see how long it lasted, but we will definitely be praying for them. So shout out for sure. You know, I was going to end talking about the World Cup because, you know, the World Cup is coming here to Georgia. Actually, I'm not going to talk about it because it was meant to be kind of fun, and it's kind of silly talking about the World Cup. I'm just going to end on this. Let's pray for the brothers and sisters in the Philippines, and then I'm gonna bug out. So I'm not gonna do the even though I think it's still in the notes for the video. I'm not gonna do it because again, it was just meant to be silly, just talk about World Cup, and this is kind of serious and sad to say that so many people are being negatively impacted by this, and it don't seem like a lot of people are talking about this. Is crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna pray and I'm gonna bug out, y'all. Thank y'all so much. Father, I thank you, God, that first of all, that you are God and that you are in control and rule and reign over all the affairs of our lives. And we can come to you not only with our hands out, but we know that you're a loving, caring Father to each and every one of us, whether we know our brothers and sisters on the other side of the planet or not. We know that you know what's going on in the Philippines and you've ordained it. So we do pray, God, that you will be with their government as they're trying to calibrate, as they're trying to get their arms around this. I do pray for safety among the brothers and sisters and people that are living in the Philippines, God, that have been impacted by this earthquake. I pray, God, for resources and for supplies and help to come to them from various places, whether it be from the States or abroad, that they will get the help that they need. And that the 32 lives that have been lost, no more lives will be lost because help has come to help these men and women, these children in the Philippines. Thank you so much for that, God. In Jesus' name, we thank you and pray. Amen. Y'all do me a favor. Have a fantastic Monday. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for tapping in. Please continue to pray for our brothers and sisters in the Philippines. Pray for the people in California to count these votes. What's going on, man? Goodness gracious. Anyway, y'all, I thank y'all so much for tapping in. I have a couple of videos dropping today, but the plan is to be back tomorrow. We'll be talking about the Carmelo Anthony case. Lord willing, we'll be talking about that and giving any new updates that have come up because of that. So everybody, thank you so much. Have a fantastic week. I'll see you all real soon. Until then, grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Whitt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.